Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. If you build a better business, you'll be a better architect. Well, better businesses start with planning for profit. Download our free course, Profit for Small Firm Architects, at entrearchitect.com/free course. Entre Architect Podcast, episode 145. Welcome back to the Entre Architect Podcast. My name is Mark R. LePage, and this is the podcast dedicated to a successful life as a small firm architect. Whether you have plans to someday start your own firm, whether you're in the process of launching a startup, or you might be an experienced small firm architect just trying to make a difference, this podcast is for you. My goal is to inspire you to build a better business so that you may pursue your purpose with passion and live the life of your dreams. HGTV. To many of us residential architects, that's a four-letter word. HGTV. Very often they're promoting unrealistic expectations for most projects regarding time, quality, budget. HGTV has made our tough job as architects even tougher. Today's guest is a successful residential architect serving the southeastern region of Michigan. And one day, about a year ago, just about a year before we recorded this episode, she received a mysterious telephone call, which led her becoming the lead architect for the most recent HGTV Urban Oasis giveaway home. She shares her story about the experience she had of being on the inside at HGTV and how she landed that job and her quest to be a faithful representative of us, small firm architects. Thank you, Dawn. This week at Entre Architect Podcast, an architect on the inside at HGTV with the founder of Studio Z Architecture, Dawn Zuber. This episode of Entre Architect Podcast is sponsored by True Style, the leader in high-end residential interior doors. Learn more at truestyle.com, and Tanglewood Conservatories, combining the romanticism of 19th century glass architecture with state-of-the-art technology of today. Learn more at tanglewoodconservatories.com. Dawn Zuber, welcome to Entre Architect Podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. This is exciting. I'm glad we finally got you on the show. We've been friends for a long time now, and I want to bring your story to the Entre Architect community. You are the founder and principal at Studio Z Architecture, based in Southeast Michigan, way up north in the U.S. And we probably, you and I were talking a little bit offline here about where we first bumped into each other. We can't really remember specifically, but it's probably social media somewhere, most likely Facebook. And then we became friends through CRAN. CRAN is the Custom Residential Architects Network, which is now an AIA knowledge community. It originally started as an independent organization that then became an AIA knowledge community. You're the current chairperson for CRAN. I attended the last 3 CRAN symposiums. I spoke at the last 2, thanks to you. You invited me to both of them, and I love doing that. CRAN is I would say, the best organization out there for residential architects. By far the best event. The symposiums are always interesting and fun to be at, and the community that come to CRAN are really, really good people, and so it's always fun to connect at the CRAN symposium. And now you're famous.
Infamous, maybe.
Yeah, you are also the architect of the most recent HGTV giveaway house, the Urban Oasis 2016. So that's exciting. So we'll talk about that as well.
Okay.
And I also, through social media and being friends, you're also a singer in the band. So that's pretty cool too. So a very diverse person doing lots of things, getting out there and having fun. So it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
Let's start like we always do here at Entre Architect Podcast. Let's hear your origin story. Let's go way back to where you discovered architecture, when you learned what architecture was, and what inspired you to become an architect, and then give us that story, that journey from that point to where you find yourself today.
Okay. Well, when I was 5, my grandparents moved to Florida from my hometown, which was my hometown is Sandusky, Ohio, and they moved back when I was 11. And they bought a house that my grandma never really loved. They bought a house just to live in, but my grandma still wanted to find a home that was a little bit nicer, that fit them a little bit better. So every weekend for a long time, my mom and my grandma and I went and looked at model homes, and I would pick up all the handouts that they gave people, like the little floor plan handouts and drawings and stuff. And I started collecting those into a folder and just really I don't know, I started to redesign them and think of better ways. Where could we fit in a bar? Because my family's home had a bar in it, and things like that. But so at the age of 11, I was already starting to remodel homes and design homes. And I didn't really fully understand what an architect did for probably another 10 years. But I knew I wanted to be an architect, and I knew that that was where I was going. So in high school, I was really lucky. I went to a really small school where we didn't have a lot of elective classes, but I was very lucky to have an art teacher who was, I think she really would have, well, I know she really would have preferred to be an architect, but she was from a generation where she was told you can either be a nurse or a teacher. So she taught art, and she was very interested in architecture. For my junior year, the curriculum was the first semester we spent looking at slides of houses from all around my hometown, and had to learn to identify the different styles of vernacular architecture.
So cool. Yeah.
It was wonderful. And I was also lucky enough that we had a drafting instructor who came in on his lunch hour. He was an engineer, and he taught drafting. And I think I might have been his only serious student ever. He was so thrilled to have me. And the high school that I went to, a pipe burst in our gymnasium and flooded the floor, and it became all rippled and wavy. And while I was taking that drafting class, the art students needed to basically document the existing floor painting that was there, all the markings on the floor. And my drafting teacher invited me to come to his, I can't imagine this happening today, but he invited me to go to his office in the evening and use his drafting table and his drafting machine to actually, draw up the floor plan of the painting that was on the floor so that my fellow art students could transfer that to the new floor. So I had that
commission.
My first commission. I was not paid to do it, but it was
Pro
a lot
bono.
of fun. Yes, exactly. I donated my services. But that was a really great experience to be able to, use his table and really learn how to draft. But then so all along I knew I wanted to be an architect, and I ended up going to University of Cincinnati and had a wonderful experience with the co-op program there, went to different places all around the country, and even went to, I took a semester, what do you call it, an independent study, and studied at the Architectural Association in London, which taught me that I was never going to be the next Zaha Hadid. I did not have any desire to be the next Zaha Hadid. But so that's my origin story. And after I graduated from University of Cincinnati, I met my future husband, and we ended up, there was one year, a few years after I graduated, all within the same 3-month window, I took the exam. Well, first I got married to my husband. Then I took the architecture registration exam, which was given as all one time at that time. And we moved from Southern Ohio up to Michigan. And then I found out I passed all of the exam, all within this little tiny, I guess that was totally maybe 5-month window.
Yeah. So a lot going on in that 5 months.
Exactly.
So when you moved to Michigan, did you work for other people?
I did. Yeah. I started out by working for a small company that there were 2 partners, and unfortunately shortly after I joined the company, one of them left and moved away. But so that was a little rough for a little while, but we mostly did custom residential architecture for that firm. After I was there for 2 years, I went to another company that did, and I kind of knew this was just an interim step. I needed to think about what was my next thing.
Yeah.
So I was with a company for a year that did office buildings and school buildings and
to put your toe in the water and make sure that check that box off.
Yeah, I had done a lot of non-residential stuff during my co-op period too, but I tried to get as much residential experience as I could because I just knew that I enjoyed working with homeowners, that designing homes was important to me. And although a lot of architects don't think of it as a really important part of our field. I think it's really critical that people live in homes that reflect who they are. So
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's changing.
I think so too.
I think through CRAN, I think that's a big part of it, and I think individual small firm architects and residential architects are demanding their respect in the profession, and I think that they're being recognized as a major contributor to the profession. We certainly, even the and it's not all custom residential architecture, that residential architects are involved with. So, and the more we are involved, the more influence we have on the developers and the other people who are building the majority of the homes in our nation. So,
right.
Absolutely a critical piece of our puzzle in this profession. So how did you get involved with CRAN, speaking of residential architecture? Because now you're running the show over there with your team. I mean,
with my team.
You're the chairman. So what's the story there? How did you find your way to leadership at CRAN?
Well, I was actually there when CRAN first started, but I didn't realize it. I was at the origin story for CRAN is that somebody organized a pre-convention workshop in Los Angeles, I think about 15 years ago, and maybe not quite. It was about residential architecture, and a group of people remained after that. I was at that pre-convention workshop, but for some reason I didn't stay after. I think I might have had a tour to go on or something. But a small group of people stayed after that, and that's where CRAN really started. I know John Ish was involved, and Drew Porth, and there were Luis Hargi and lots of other people that are still involved with CRAN. Were kind of that core group of people that started CRAN. So for a while there was a listserv where people had like a discussion listserv where people would post questions or ideas or, I don't even remember some of the topics of conversation, but John Ish was on that. And one of my co-op jobs when I was in Cincinnati was at John's firm. In fact, I worked with John and his partners at the time, Mike Mauk and Rod Sidley, who started his own firm later. I worked with the three of them while they actually were buying the firm from the previous owner's widow. He passed away very young. But anyway, so I knew John from probably 1988 or thereabouts. And when I saw his name on the listserv, I got more involved and started interacting a little bit. And at one point, John put out a call for volunteers to get involved with CRAN. And I think probably about 6 months later, I contacted him and said, if you're still interested, I would love to get involved with the Custom Residential Architects Network. And he was very happy to have me. And I'm really happy that I did that. I've been involved on the Custom Residential Architects Network Board of Directors, which we call the Advisory Group or AG, since about 2009. And I've just learned so much and gotten so much from being involved with this wonderful group of people who know so much about what we do. So
talk more about what CRAN is and what it does.
Yeah, CRAN is a knowledge community within AIA. And knowledge communities, I don't remember exactly when they came into being, but I think it was in the early 2000s when AIA decided to sort of allow members to organize themselves into smaller groups of people who had particular interest areas. So there's like a community for people who do just architecture for justice, and there's a community of people who do healthcare architecture. And there was I think all of the knowledge communities except for CRAN were formed when AIA decided to do this and to have smaller groups available. And the knowledge communities are really intended to give people support within their specialty areas to allow those smaller groups to provide education and specialized really specialized education for people who specialize in different areas. So the Custom Residential Architects Network was the first grassroots knowledge community where we formed ourselves outside of AIA, or sort of, we are all AIA members, or most of us still are, but we started as a grassroots effort from the bottom up, and we came to AIA and said, hey, custom residential architects are not represented. There was a housing community, but
Right.
the housing community mainly focused on multifamily housing and not single family custom homes. So we petitioned AIA, and AIA had no process in place for actually approving grassroots knowledge communities. So we kind of had to get AIA to think about that and let us in, basically. But they did, and I'm not remembering the exact year we became a knowledge community, but it was within the past 5 years or
Yeah,
so.
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and David Andriazzi was also one of those original members, right?
I don't know if he was one of the original members, but he is a past chair. He
Yeah.
was chair 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I bring it up is because I think he was involved in that merge to become a knowledge community. I think he was
Yes, he was.
part of that group.
He was very involved in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he's in another group, leading another group.
Yep.
And so and the symposiums are really like the highlight of it. I mean, there's the knowledge community online. They have a forum that you can go to, and you can talk to people on the forum. They have resources for residential architects, but really the highlight and the focus of CRAN is their annual symposium.
Yeah.
3 years ago, when my first one was in Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, not this past one, but the year before this past one, was in Minnesota and Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And then this past one was in Sonoma in California. And so it sort of bounces around different places. Next year, it's in Miami, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it's sort of going all across the United States. Talk a little bit about the symposium itself and how that's organized, and because it's not just a bunch of speakers. It's sort of an entire so it's 3 or 4 days of events.
Yes. Yeah. It's been 3.5 days of and we have a home tour typically that's occupies most of one day. We also organize cocktail receptions every evening because we are a group of people who likes to work hard and play harder, as James Walbridge often says. But we also try to organize, or at least ask our sponsors to organize networking dinners for attendees.
Yeah,
and then we have...
Those are always fun. The dinners are a lot of fun.
Yes. And then we have, as you said, educational sessions. And we also have a sponsor showcase. And this is pretty much the big event that CRAN does, although we've had other projects that we've done in the past, and some have been more successful than others. But the symposium is by far the most popular and I think the event that touches the most people, because not only does it happen live in person, as you've experienced 3 times, but it also, for the past couple of years, has been broadcast live on House, live streamed for people to watch from afar, and that's how I had to enjoy it this year.
Yeah, as chairperson, you could not show up.
I could not be there for a very good reason, but also we record those educational sessions, and then many of them are available on AIAU for people to watch later for credit. And your session was set on AIAU last year, and I hope that I think it's going to be again this year. I'm pretty sure. I saw the list. I don't remember for sure whose was.
It was fun. Last year, I did a solo presentation about the 12 steps to success in architecture, which was also a podcast, because as soon as I finished that, I actually recorded the same presentation as a podcast. So you can go search for that. We'll put that in the show notes if you're interested. And then this year, I sort of wanted to step sort of behind the scenes. I still became moderator, but I invited 3 other architects and sort of set up a different format where the three architects shared their architecture like we always do. We love to see the beautiful photos and the success stories. But then we talked about, and the presentation name was Behind the Design. And so the idea was to talk about the business of how those projects came about, and we had so much fun, and I learned a lot. We had a very diverse panel. We had Greg Matola from Bolin Sawinski Jackson, Jim Zach from Zach DeVito Architecture, and Marika McKeel of Studio MM. Very large firm, mid-sized firm, small firm, developer. Traditional and developer is the middle. Jim Zach does both. And then Bolin Sawinski Jackson is just traditional architecture. Traditional form, not the style, but the traditional, client-based services. So we had a very diverse panel talking about how they do their architecture. And so it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to come back with another idea in Miami to do something again in Miami. We'll see. We'll see if you guys let me in and if we can find up a new way to do things.
Well, I think I can't speak totally on behalf of the symposium planning committee, but we are having a meeting tomorrow, and I'm sure we'd love to have you back if you can come up with something, which I'm sure you can.
Yeah. Well, you can definitely make my interest official. You can,
okay.
And so, and James has also asked me, so it'll. I'm definitely interested in doing something. I don't know what we'll do, but so we'll come back. So anybody who's interested. Miami is the next one, and that's going to take the Cran Symposium 10x when you're talking about hanging out in Miami. It is going to be a fun time. I mean, it's pretty hard to top Sonoma, so to go to Miami after Sonoma should be a good time.
Yeah.
And it's and what I really love about Cran is that it's an intimate event, that it's about 200 people, 250 people or whatever, and it's one track. So it's not like the convention where, you have to pick, everybody's on the same track. Everybody goes to the same breakfast. Everybody goes to the same presentations. Everybody goes to the same house tour. So you become friends with these people and you see them every year. So if you go back and everybody else goes back, you meet these people and you create bonds with them and friendships. And so even outside of the symposium, you create this network of support and encouragement for residential architects. It's a great organization and a lot of fun. But you couldn't go this year. You missed Sonoma, which was terrible. But tell us why you had to miss Sonoma.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned earlier, I designed the Urban Oasis 2016 giveaway home for HGTV this year. And although they scheduled Media Day back in February, that's when they picked the date for Media Day, at least around then. Media Day ended up being the same Tuesday, right smack in the middle of our symposium. And as soon as I found that out, months before, I said to the HGTV team, is there any chance that date could be moved forward or backwards? Because even if it was the day before, I could still have gotten out to Sonoma for the rest of the symposium. But being that it was Tuesday and the symposium went from Sunday through Thursday, there was just no way with the time difference and the time involved in flying out there that I could make it for any part of the symposium, which was just heartbreaking to me. I was intimately involved with planning the symposium in Sonoma, and that made it really hard not to be there.
We missed you, and your absence was very apparent. I look forward to hanging out with you and seeing you, and I know how much effort you put into it, and to not be there to experience all your hard work. I could imagine that it was crushing, but for what you had to leave it for, must have been pretty exciting. Hey, let's take a quick break here to say thank you to two of our platform sponsors here at Entree Architect, True Style Doors and Tanglewood Conservatories. Because as platform sponsors, these two companies, they've provided funding and support for our overall mission to become an influential force in this profession of architecture. They recognize the need for us, our small firms, to build better businesses in order to be better architects. And both of these companies are run by great people. They're passionate about their products and they want to share their knowledge with you. So they're sponsoring us. So connect with them. Say thanks for sponsoring Entre Architect. And then go specify their products. I would not be talking about them if they didn't have exceptional products. So go check them out. And by supporting them, you'll be supporting us. True Style is passionate about providing us small firm architects with the inspiration and the tools to transform our designs with the most distinctive, the most authentic, the most special doors you will find anywhere. With more than 400 made-to-order styles, True Style offers premium MDF doors for painted applications, that's what we use, and 20 standard species of wood across all architectural categories. From traditional to contemporary and everything in between, every True Style door is made to order. True Style, driven by design. Visit TrueStyle.com and start designing your doors today. That's TrueStyle, TrueStyle.com. And Tanglewood Conservatories. They custom design and build authentic residential and commercial conservatories. They combine the romanticism of 19th century glass architecture with state-of-the-art technology and master craftsmanship. And whether your designs call for a pool enclosure, a gazebo, a greenhouse, or even a unique light-filled living space, Tanglewood Conservatories will help you create a custom masterpiece for your clients. Tanglewood Conservatories, anything else is just another room. For more information, visit tanglewoodconservatories.com. That's tanglewoodconservatories.com. So go check out these companies today and let them know that Entre Architect sent you. To tell us about, tell us the origin story of the Urban Oasis project. How did you get involved with that?
Well, that I think was a lot of luck. Apparently, the Urban Oasis team scouted. I don't know how they decided on Ann Arbor. That I believe it had something to do with one of the vice presidents at Scripps Networks knowing the city and being attracted to the city because of family living in the area. But when I got the call, they had already purchased the house that you see on the show. And they told me, I got this phone call while I was down eating lunch. I was working from home at the time. I was down in my kitchen eating lunch. I went back upstairs and I listened to my voicemail, and this phone message said, this guy said, "Hi, my name is Scott blah, blah, blah." I couldn't understand his last name. And I'm a contractor from Tennessee, and I'm working with an investor who bought a house in Ann Arbor, and they want to remodel it, and we'd like to talk to you. And I thought to myself, well, I'm so busy right now. I'm going to wait and call this guy back later because I just don't have time to fit this job in. So a couple hours later, I got a phone call from a realtor who I knew from a mutual client. And she said, "Dawn, I know that my client just called you." And I said, "Oh, Deb, I'd love to talk to him, but I'm really busy right now." And she says, "Okay, well, if you're really busy, that's fine. I'll stop talking now." But she said, "I really think you should call him back. You won't regret it." So I was like, "You won't regret it." Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
a
weird.
Big phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. So she said, "I can just set up an appointment for you tomorrow. Can you be there at the house tomorrow at 11? And I said, "Sure, go ahead, set up the appointment. I'll be there. That's fine." It just happened to work into my schedule. So after we hung up, I thought, well, this is really intriguing. Why did she say you won't regret it? So I didn't have the guy's last name. Like I said, it sounded like blah, blah, blah. But I had his phone number. So I did a Google reverse lookup on his phone number, and his bio on his own website. He was really a general contractor. He was really from Tennessee, but his bio said that he had been on a couple of HGTV shows in the past. And so I was like, oh my God.
Putting the pieces together.
Yeah, I might be auditioning for something. So anyway, the next day I went to the meeting and I did my usual shtick. It was only a half hour. But we walked through the house. I had my clipboard. I made a lot of notes. I asked a lot of questions. I made some suggestions. I joked about the really awful 1970s pink and blue wallpaper in the front bedroom that we definitely have to salvage that and reuse it. And I honestly didn't think I did that well. But the next day I got a call and they said, we want to hire you to do this project on Spring Street. And by the way, we need to tell you what we're really doing. And that's when I was led into the secret, which understanding a project like that can really take a lot of time. Like not only understanding what they want to do, but understanding the need for secrecy and understanding their process and how this is going to all happen really fast. And they needed a design. They hired me in early November. I didn't really get started on the project till right around Thanksgiving. I went and measured it.
A year ago.
A year ago, yep. I went and measured it almost exactly a year ago, the day before Thanksgiving, and I did all the as-builts on Thanksgiving. I think we went out to dinner with friends, but then I came home and worked. And luckily, my calendar just kind of miraculously opened up where all these clients who I thought were going to be demanding things during December, there was very little need for me to work on anything else. It was just bizarre. So everybody just sort of went away for the month of December. And I did the as-builts with a little help from one of my sub-consultants in November, and then started designing. And by the first week of December, we had the design nailed down. And then I did construction drawings in the rest of the month. I did what normally I would say takes a minimum of 4 months. I condensed that and was able to do it in about 5 weeks because I started, like I said, the day before Thanksgiving, and I finished the construction drawings for the main part of the project on New Year's Eve.
And that was their deadlines you were hitting?
That was their deadlines. Yeah, they wanted to start construction the first week of January, and they did replace 2 foundation walls while I was doing the drawings in December. That was something they did without. I did some very simple drawings for that, and then I did the construction drawings for the main house, and then we had to do another set of construction drawings for the garage and screen porch that came a little later. And then we had to revise the construction documents for the main house to add the front porch, which we had to get a zoning variance for. So,
and you went through all the same approval processes that anybody else would have gone through, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
And then how you were involved all through construction as well?
Yes. Yeah. I was probably more involved during construction on that project than I am on many of my other projects. Because for 2 reasons. One is, I wanted to make sure that it was built well, according to the plans. But, there were a little higher stakes there when it's going to be seen on TV by millions of people. Not that I don't want to work hard for all my other clients, but But the other part of it was I was very interested in seeing the production process, and they totally welcomed me to be there anytime they were filming, and I was able to kind of observe how they put together the show too, which was really fun.
Yeah, and you were representing residential architects on HGTV.
Was doing my very best. And by the way, I did mention to them at least twice that most residential architects really hate HGTV because of the fact that they tend not to really talk about how much things cost and how long things really take. But that was very well taken.
Yeah. Well, thank you for advocating.
I was doing my best.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. So what is has anything come about after that other than your global fame?
I haven't gotten that yet. No. I not really. I mean, I've gotten some interest from people who have found me through that project, and but it's too soon for any projects to really come out of it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't the announcement, media day announcement, was really when I could tell people that I was involved or really show people what I did. I was able to announce my involvement in July when they announced the location of the show. But it was very controlled, when I was allowed to say and what I was allowed to say. Anything I wrote or published about the show, like on Facebook, I had to run that by the Scripps legal team, to make sure that it was all approved by them. So that from I've only really been able to talk about this since July.
So describe the project, what it is and what it was.
Well, it was a little tiny sort of bungalow, one-story bungalow in Ann Arbor with a full basement. It was 900 square feet roughly, and you came in the front door, which was right in the middle of the house in the front, and you were in the living room and that went over to the left side, and then straight ahead of you was the dining room. And behind the living room, next to the dining room, was a little tiny kitchen, little U-shaped kitchen that was the space between the counters was just barely wider than the little 30-inch range that was there to work in, and then to the right of the front entrance was 2 little tiny bedrooms and a little tiny bathroom, and there was a very tall attic that seemed big enough to finish. You know how that is? You go up and you look and you're like, oh, this
Right.
looks really spacious. But then when you really start drawing out, like trying to get a shed dormer on the back, you realize that it's just not tall enough. So we had to take off the existing roof structure. Basically, they gutted the interior of the house, took out all of the interior walls, and then took everything off from the top of the double top plates up. And so that's all new. All new floor structure, all new roof. Although I designed it very carefully to look as if it was part of the neighborhood. You wouldn't know from standing in front of that house today that it wasn't always like that, and that's something I really pride myself on.
Yeah, I agree. It looks original. I didn't even know that they pulled the roof off.
Yeah, the roof is all new from the top plates up.
So in order to, you said you didn't know how you got this project, that it was luck. I doubt it. I doubt it was luck, because you do marketing very well. Your website is very well developed, and you're all over social media, and it's well presented, and it's consistent with your brand. So your brand is consistent. So when somebody, whether it's a client or a TV show, is looking for an architect in your region, they're finding you. And so I'm not sure it was as much of luck as your previously hard work and determination and your focus on a target market of residential architecture. It's something I talk about all the time. You are a residential architect, and that's everything that your brand says is all about residential architecture and why you love it so much and how you treat your clients, and so it's very well presented, and your brand is consistent throughout your social media and your website. And so
thank you.
I doubt it was lucky. I think maybe the only luck may be that they chose your region for the house.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that they found you pretty quickly, I would suspect, and your audition went well, and you're a friendly person, and you're personable, and you're knowledgeable, and so I'm not surprised that they chose you.
Well, thank you, Mark. They did actually tell me they found me on House. So
yeah, well, there you go. In your House profile, you're a power user on House. So, and you can tell it's very well put together. You have 15 reviews. I'm actually looking at your page right now.
Thank you.
And anybody wants to take a look at it, it's house.com/pro/studiozarch, ARCH. And if anybody's who's looking for an example of what you should be doing on House, go there and look at what Dawn's doing, because and I know through interaction, you're also a member of Entree Architect Academy. Through our interaction at the Academy, that you get a lot of interaction through House. You get a lot of connection and of leads coming through House. And so it's a powerful tool for you. Yeah,
it is. And not all of them are great leads, but there's certainly, I do get a lot of inquiries through House. But I also get a lot of questions from people like, what color is that wall paint?
Yeah, I get those every day.
Everybody gets those. It's so funny. I finally started asking my clients to give me a list of the paint colors and finishes, because, that I can put them on a house and hopefully, head off those questions.
Right. Or at least give them something to point them to.
Yeah. No, I still get those questions though.
Yeah. We have one specific project, a kitchen project, that almost every day I get questions on things like that.
Yeah.
What color are the cabinets? What color is where do you buy the tile? And you get a lot of those on Houzz. But you also get, I've gotten several projects through people who've found us on Houzz. So it's definitely, and I don't pay for any of it. I don't do any sort of paid plan. It's just an organic search when they're finding us. But it's a complete profile for me. Are you doing any paid search with them?
Yeah, I am a Pro Plus user, and that is an investment. What I think I get from it, though, is a lot of support from Houzz and help with how to fill out my, how to make sure that my profile is a good, strong profile. I get touch base calls a lot with my Pro Plus account liaison. I have thought hard about whether I continue that or not, because I do believe that a good, strong profile is enough to get you the attention.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things where I've been doing it, so I continue doing it because I do like the support from them.
Yeah, and it works. You've seen it work.
Yeah.
So and they do. They push the paid profiles to the top.
Yeah.
And so your profiles are coming up above the ones that are not paying. And so there is an advantage to that. If you're investing in Houzz as a tool for marketing, it's probably a very wise investment. It's not something that we focus on at our firm. We have it, so it's if we're going to invest our brand into a format, into a platform, we're doing it all in. So it's fully developed, but it's not, we don't spend a lot of time there, and we don't really focus on that as one of our main strategies. But if you are, as you are, I think it's probably a wise investment. So I think I had the question that I was going to ask you before is that the Urban Oasis project was a renovation. And I know that most of the giveaway homes that the New Year's Day giveaway homes, which they've been doing for years, which I always look forward to, have always been new houses. And so is this, have they done renovated home giveaways before, or is this the first one? They've done it before.
They have done it before. They've done, I think this is the 7th Urban Oasis that they've done, but it's only the second one where it's been a renovated single family home. The prior ones have been renovated condos or, high-rise buildings. And so if you look up past Urban Oasis projects, you can actually find links to the old projects. I remember one was like a high-rise in Atlanta. I can't remember all of them, but then they decided to really focus on single-family homes because that's kind of what their audience is interested in, so they decided to change it to that.
Yeah. Well, it's a great project.
Thank you.
I love talking to you about it. I love hearing behind the scenes and how it worked. And thank you for your service at CRAN. It's a great organization, and I appreciate you being there as a leader.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. That means a lot.
Yeah, and thank you for joining me here today at the podcast. This has been a great conversation. Your website is studiozarch.com for anybody who wants to go see a great website that's put together well for a residential architect, very focused on what you do.
Thank you.
The Houzz profile, again, is houzz.com/pro/studiozarch. And you're on Twitter at Dawn Zuber, DAWNZUBER. So if anybody wants to connect to you on Twitter, you can do that. Before we go, I want to ask you that one final question that I've been asking a lot of my guests recently. What's the one thing that small firm architects can do today to build a better business for tomorrow?
Well, the one thing that comes to my mind is to get involved in that, in whatever you choose to get involved in. But for example, CRAN, like we discussed earlier, is a great opportunity for people to meet other architects who do what they do. If you're a custom residential architect, it's wonderful to have a network of other custom residential architects that you can call on with questions. But another thing that I'm involved in is our local NARI chapter, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. And that's wonderful because I get to meet contractors who do work. And I can refer them and they can refer me. But I think being involved is really a great way to get sort of teammates for projects, potential contractors, and things like that. So
yeah, it builds your network. And when
it does.
And when you take leadership positions beyond just showing up, and just go to meetings, when you take leadership positions, it really 10x's that opportunities that you have for you. You are looked at as an expert. You're looked at as a resource. And so your network grows exponentially when you become a leader in one of these organizations. And so that's a great suggestion for the one thing that small firm architects can do. Get involved. Go out and find something that you're interested in, that you're passionate about. Get involved in that organization and go see how you can become a leader in it. See if you can be a director or a chairperson, and see what it will do for your career and your life. So Dawn, thank you very much for sharing that. And thank you for taking the time out to be with us here today at Entre Architect Podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure, Mark. Thank you.
Complete show notes and a direct link to download this episode will be found at entrearchitect.com/episode 145. And don't forget to visit the website over at Entre Architect to gain access to our digital course, Profit for Small Firm Architects, and learn how to build a powerful profit plan that will work for your small firm. Visit entrearchitect.com right there on the homepage. Click the button. Hundreds of architects have already taken this course. It's a great place to get started building a better business. And it's free right there at entrearchitect.com. My name is Mark Arlepage, and I am an entrepreneur architect, and I encourage you to build a better business so you can be a better architect. Love, learn, and share what you know. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds, get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark Arlepage, founder of Entre Architect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.